Talk about all the games happened on November 28th. Sunday, we have 5 games. The first game is the Warriors beating the Clippers 105-90. Was it really close again? The Warriors are 18-2. In 2016, I believe they started something like 35, 36-2. They're not going to do that, but they could have another 60 game season, 16 winning season. Really scary. And the Phoenix Suns are right behind them, so it's a two-team race right now. At the Western Conference, I mean, by far the two best team regular season record-wise, and the Brooklyn Nets are the best team in the Eastern Conference. But it seems like they lost to all the good teams. This Nets team, that's not good. For the Wiggins, decent game again, 12 points. He's been playing very well in the last 2 weeks. In the last 2 weeks or so, he is in 9 category. He's the 95th ranked player, averaging 21 points. He could average 17, 18 points, even when Clay comes back, maybe 16 points, but still. Provide you good enough points. Free throw is an issue. If you're pounding free throws, his value goes up, like moving to that top 70, 60 player. Providing very good, decent defensive stats as well. Averaged 1 block in the last week. He can block a lot of shots. He's got all the tools to get the defensive stats and be a good defender in real life. Hit 2 threes as well, the former number 1 pick. Draymond Green, in some foul trouble, still had a decent line, 7 assists and 2 steals. But I just want to see, he had a great game last game, where he had a lot of defensive stats. This game, just the 2 steals, which is still good. Averaged 1.2 steals and 0.8 blocks in the last 2 weeks. 65th ranked player. He's not going to score. He's not going to hit any threes. But the rebounds, steals, assists, blocks, bringing a lot. I still want to see him, getting more steals and getting more blocks, and that would really help him move into top 40 or 50 in 9 category leagues. And of course, if you got a big man team, you're pounding points and threes, he becomes a lot more valuable. Could be top 20 or top 10 even. Come on, Looney, just 13 minutes. Let's not worry about him. Jordan Poole played 31 minutes. Didn't shoot the ball well again, but I think he's gotten a lot smarter with his shot selection. As a result, his minutes being up. Clay is going to come back, but I think as long as he plays smart basketball, he's going to get 30 minutes a night with Clay. With Clay back, like Otto Porter going to lose minutes. Juan Toscano-Anderson going to lose some minutes. I think Jordan Poole still should get 30 minutes a night and give you 17, 18 points and 3 threes. Nothing else. It depends on how many steals he can get, though. If he can average 1.3, 1.4, he could be a top 70 guy. Otherwise, maybe 90, 100. Steph Curry, 33 points. Again, a really good game. Just effortlessly score 30-plus points every single game. Him and Jokic top 2. I think I personally prefer Jokic because Jokic brings the rebound, the assist, right? Which is harder to get on the waiver wire. Like, one biggest value from Curry is the threes, which is everywhere on the waiver wire. So, prefer Jokic for that reason. And I wouldn't be surprised Jokic end up being the number 1 player, to be honest. And Curry had 6 steals here. That is kind of crazy. Warriors as a team, they got 19 steals. So Clippers would just, average, I would say a team would get like 8 or 9 steals a game. So Clippers were pretty careless this game. Gary Payton Jr. got 4 steals as well. He's a good steal streamer. And that's it. Otto Porter Jr. also had a great game, 26 minutes. 18-10. This is Washington Wizards Otto Porter, but don't expect this to continue. For the LA Clippers, Paul George, great game again, 30 points. Pretty bad efficiency. In the last 2 weeks, Paul George has fallen off quite a bit. 63rd ranked player. Still 25 points, but just 1 steal. If Paul George is going to average 1 steal, he's not going to be, I don't think he's even going to be a top 10 player, to be honest with you. Because then at that point, he just, because he gets decent rebounds and assists, but not in huge volume. So he's just going to score some points. He's already, on the season, he's already 11th ranked. After Porzingis, of course. He should be better than Porzingis and LeBron. Should be in that top 10 range. I still feel good about Paul George in per game basis top 10. And so far, he's been healthy as well. He's a pretty older guy. I wonder if Clippers going to start resting him. That'll be kind of tough because they don't have a second star. Yeah, Marcus Morris Senior. I think we could pick him up. He played 34 minutes, but I wouldn't expect some crazy numbers, but decent enough to be rostered. Hit a lot of threes, some points, some rebounds. Had 5 assists this game as well. That doesn't really happen all that often. Zubac, 21 minutes, 8 rebounds and 2 steals. Decent enough. If you want, like I said, if you want rebounds, you could hold Zubac. Otherwise, just stream him, if you need rebound that week. Eric Bledsoe had 10 rebounds this game. He's that fringe guy, but I just prefer having him on my team because the defensive upside. But you would expect does from every once in a while. Maybe not every once in a while. Maybe 30% of the time just absolutely does nothing. But the playing time is there though. 30 minutes a night, pretty consistently. Reg Jackson, he's not a drop after this horrible game. He was in some foul trouble. Played just 21 minutes. He should be fine moving forward. Luke Canard, as a result, played 33 minutes. Didn't do anything. Had 2 steals and 1 3. Nothing else. Meanwhile, Terrence Mann got 26 minutes. Did a bit everything, but is a good streamer. But the production is up and down, man. They got so many guys on this team that once Nicholas Batum comes back, they're gonna take some of his minutes. The minutes is just inconsistent. And Isaiah Hartenstein, 12 minutes, again, 5 rebounds, a steal, and 2 blocks. He's such a minute monster. I remember David West on the Golden State Warriors a couple years ago. He would play 15 minutes and average like 1 steal and 1 block, like Isaiah Hartenstein is doing this year. Just come in, play 50 minutes, do a bunch of damage, and then peace out. So he's doing exactly that. So good to see. But the playing time is just too low to. If they have a back-to-back, I would consider streaming him. For the next game, the Milwaukee Bucks beat the Indiana Pacers. This was an easy game, and the news came out that DeMarcus Cousins signed with Milwaukee for 1 year. So I don't know what that means. Maybe Brook Lopez has some serious issues. He played 1 game and just never came back. So I would, if you got Lopez, even IR, if you got an IR and you have nobody else injured, sure, you could keep him. Otherwise, he's for sure is a drop. So that's not good news for Bobby Portis because Cousins will come in here and play in 15 to 20 minutes. But if Lopez doesn't play at all, Bobby Portis will be still starting, but probably a sell high. After this, he was already a sell high. Once Lopez comes back, I think with the signing of Cousins, I don't know when Lopez is coming back, to be honest. But Cousins doesn't really fit with Giannis all that well, though. He's not that great spacing-wise. He can shoot the 3, but not as well as Bobby Portis or Lopez. So Bobby Portis should still get 25 minutes a night, I believe. Still a must roster. This game had hit 1 3, 15 points, a block, and 6 rebounds. That's good enough value. Chris Middleton, 30 minutes. Chris Middleton numbers, really not much to talk about. Giannis played well, 13 rebounds, and the free throw was bad again. Grayson Allen, with everybody back, he's still got the minutes, but not the shot attempts. So I think he's a drop everywhere now. Let's just drop him and move on. Jrue Holiday, 23 points. Start playing better and better. Ranking-wise, he's still horrible. So I would look to pick him up. Not pick him up, to buy low. If the next game he scored 5 points on one of 8 shooting with nothing else, he should be a top 35, top 40 guy. And Pat Connington he's just been playing really, really well. And the minutes is there, 14 points again. But the thing is, he doesn't, other than threes and a little bit points, he's not a big defensive player. He doesn't get that many. I guess he's a decent rebounder, but he doesn't get that many defensive stats. You could for sure stream him if you need points, threes, and some rebounds. But that's it. Giorgio played 29 minutes, had 2 steals and 6 rebounds. But the production is too up and down. For the Pacers, what a mess, to be honest. They were a decent team, at least in the regular season last year. I don't know if they made the playoffs, actually. Did they make the playoffs last year? But, I do remember all the guys on their team, fantasy-wise, they were all really good. They were all fine. Like Sabonis, Malcolm Brogdon, even Caris LeVert second half of Caris LeVert was a bit hurt. The TJ McConnell was great last year. This year, Sabonis continued to be he played well last game. After this game, probably a buy low. But just be careful. He was getting drafted fairly early this year, like second round, and early third in a lot of the leagues. You'll be like you're not gonna trade your second round guy for Sabonis. Buy low is probably throw him a top 50 player if you're pounding free throws. If you're not pounding free throws, his rankings could be even worse, depending on how much he hurts your free throw. He is the 108th ranked player in the last 2 weeks, averaging 16 points, still grabbing 11.6 rebounds, but almost no defensive stats. And the assist also is dipping 3.45 assists in the last 2 weeks. So not good for Sabonis. Miles Turner. This is what you get from Miles Turner sometimes. But the next game he could have 18 points and 3 blocks with 9 rebounds. So just gotta hold. This is not surprising to us at all now. Like he could do this for a week or so. That's when you go in buy low. If he continues to do this, and he was also in some personal fouls, and this game wasn't close, so he just didn't play in the fourth quarter. Caris LeVert played a great game, 23 points. I would try to sell him if just the back issues is really bothering him, so he can't be that aggressive on defensive end. As a result, his defensive stats are suffering. But still needs to be rostered, in my opinion. Malcolm Brogdon, 16, didn't play 34 minutes, didn't do anything. Chris Duarte, 30 minutes, not a must roster. We could stream him still. And TJ McConnell, just a 16 minutes because it was a blowout. If you want assists and steals, I would say you could still hold him. Because if you drop him, right, someone else is gonna pick him up, for sure. In category leagues, of course. The next game, the Celtics got a great win over the Toronto Raptors. And would you believe, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum both played and they won a game. So far this season, when both those guys play, they've been bad. And Jason Tatum, what's going on? 2 for 16. I think he mentioned that COVID last year impacted his, he didn't feel the same, but it's been a year now. And he's putting up games like this, 2 for 16. This happens way too often. If you're punting field goals, I would go pretty hard to try to buy Jason Tatum low, like a top, throw him a top 20 player, like a Zach LaVine at him. Maybe the owner is getting frustrated with his crazy field goal. He's providing decent rebounds and assists if you just ignore his field goals. Had 1 3, 1 steal, nowhere near the round 1 production. But that's what we expected. Like per game wise, probably in the top 15, 20. But we know he's going to be healthy compared to a lot of other guys. Grant Williams got the start, played fairly well. Robert Williams is still out. I would expect him to be back at some point. Very, very soon. He had some illness, but that is not COVID related. Al Horford, 26 minutes. The minutes is lower and lower for Al Horford. Also, this game was maybe Ernest Cantor came in. Ernest Cantor actually changed his name. He became a U.S. citizen and changed his name to Ernest Freedom. So that's good for him. He was getting a lot of attention off court. But good to see him. Yeah, this is actually, he was getting DNPs for a long time. Good to see him come in and play 22 minutes. Once Robert Williams come back, this guy, people love him in fantasy because in limited time, he will put up huge rebound numbers, huge field goal and points. But he doesn't really do anything else. So if Robert Williams continues to be out, he could be a streamer for points and field goals if they got a back-to-back. Otherwise, I would leave him on the waiver wire. Al Horford, 17 points and 11 rebounds in just the 26 minutes. A pretty good game, but his block numbers are gone. Beginning of the season, he was blocking, averaging 0.8 blocks. He's still 71st ranked player in the last 2 weeks, only averaging 0.8 blocks. Realistically, 1.1, 1.2. Which could make him a top 50 or 60 player. But the minutes has been down, so, I worry about him, can he be a top 50 player the rest of the way? I'm not 100% sure. He needs to be rostered. So I think the sell high window on Al Horford is closed a long time ago. So now you just got to hold him. Jaylen Brown, hamstring issues bothering him. That's never good. Honestly, I would prefer to sell him. If you can get a top 30 guy back for Jaylen Brown, or where you drafted him, top 30, top 35, I would probably do it after some huge games. Because I feel like this issue is going to linger again this season. the way Jalen Brown is playing, because he's gonna play high minutes. He's gonna go hard whenever he plays. I feel like he's gonna linger again. Maybe not. I don't know. But 16 points still is okay. Marcus Smart, great game. 21 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, and no defensive end. And so when you take this many shots, spend energy on offense, this is expected that the defensive end gonna dip. That happens to a lot of players like Josh Richardson. A couple years ago, he was great, getting in the defensive stats. But then when he went to the Miami Heat, no. He was on the Miami Heat, and then 1 year, I think, before Jimmy Butler came, like all the Heat guys, like Dwayne Wade retired. So they basically gave the ball to Josh Richardson and say, hey, why don't you take 20 field goals a year, 20 field goals a game? And his defensive stats dipped. He used to average like 1.5 steals and 1 block. That season, he probably averaged like 1 steal and, I don't know how many blocks, I don't remember. But both dipped in a huge way. He used to be a really good defensive, in fantasy defensive guy. This game, 27 points, and this game, Dennis Schroeder was out. So if Dennis Schroeder and Jalen Brown, if one of them is out, we could stream Josh Richardson. But the value is very, very low end. But just not an option, They got a back-to-back or anything like that. One of those shooters or Brown gonna miss a game, we could come in and, stream him for 1 game, for 2 games. For the Toronto Raptors, Scotty Barnes, great game. This is he's a multiple. He can do a little bit of everything, which really helped his value. He had 5 offensive rebounds as well, a team high 37 minutes. Like I thought, like Siakam comes back, maybe gonna take some of the minutes away, but they decided to play small, right? So OG, Siakam, and Scotty Barnes in the front court. So his minutes is gonna be secure. This Raptor team, then all the guys are super good in fantasy. He got 7 assists, 2 steals, and blocks. Very good game from him. And he took 9 threes. He was... Hold a minute. Why did he just... That just makes him very interesting. He took 9 threes. I believe he was averaging... Yep. He was averaging 1.53 attempts throughout 19 games. So he pretty much only took 28 threes in the previous 18 games. He took 28 threes total, and he took 9 threes this game. That is wild. I don't know what happened this game. He made him took 9 threes. Maybe they were down, and he was left wide open. And he did a pretty good job. I mean, shot 44%, hit 4 threes. If he start hitting threes, then that would help his value even more. Maybe efficiency dip a bit, but I think overall would help his efficiency a bit more. So that's interesting. 7 rebounds is great, 3 steals. Yep. Scotty Barnes, good. I think him and ranking wise, he should be better than Josh Giddey, because Josh Giddey's field goal is so bad and free throw is bad as well. Counting set wise, those two are close, and Evan Mobley is by far the best rookie, fantasy wise. Okay, we also got Cunningham, who's also, like, ranking wise, he won't be good because of the inefficiencies. Pascal Siakam, 18 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. An okay game. I probably a buy low. Like, people probably disrespect Siakam in fantasy. He provides solid points, rebound, and some assists and some defensive stats, and his efficiency is not bad. 90th ranked player. To me, he's a top 50 or 60. So if you can get to a top 60 guy like a Terry Rozier for Siakam, I would do it. Precious Achiuwa started, played 37 minutes. Whenever Precious starts, we could think about him streaming him for rebounds and rebound only. Somehow he went 3 for 11 as a center, and he took 3 threes, but it's pretty rough. And Svi started in place of Gary Trent. Gary Trent should be fine. It's not a long-term thing. He's gonna be out for a few games. So we could stream Svi for the next few games if we like. Fred VanVleet, looks like the groin injury is not bothering him anymore. He played 40 minutes again and put up a great line: 27 points, 5 threes, 2 steals, and 3 assists and 6 rebounds. But I do worry. But we don't hold him. He's been playing fairly well. But just guys that got hurt beginning of the season, you gotta worry if the same injury will linger. But so far, it looks very good. And let's talk about the next game, the Grizzlies. The Kings are the mess right now. This game, they started Alex Len, gave him 6 minutes. Why? I don't know. We know that Rashawn Holmes is out, and Harrison Barnes was out this game. So they got some guys out. But for the Grizzlies, they also don't have their best player, Ja Morant. So it's no excuse to lose this bad. I don't know. Whatever, they got switch things up. Do something, or just go full tank mode, I suppose. Terrence Davis actually got the started at the small forward position, 13 points and two. Give the guy 30 minutes, he's a good fantasy guy. Him and Delon Wright last year, toward the end, Delon was killing it. Delon Wright, which team is Delon Wright in this year? Give Delon Wright 30 minutes, he's a top 30 player, depending on how many defensive sets that he get. Yeah, Delon Wright, oh, okay, he's playing for the Atlanta Hawks this year. And he's fairly young, 29 years old. Yeah, to give Terrence Davis 30 minutes. Maybe at some point we'll get that this season, if they go in full tank mode. Chimezie Metu had 23, it took 11 shots, horrible, missed all the threes. We could stream him, at this point, for sure. He's giving us good enough rebounds and some threes from the center position. Center power forward position. It's kind of unique, But a lot of young big men, they're all shooting threes nowadays. That's their job. Alex Len, let's not worry about him. Tyrese Halliburton, a horrible game, up by low. Also, the minutes was low, 20 minutes. Same thing with De'Aaron Fox, up by low. Yeah, you don't want to see performances like this on a Sunday, especially if your matchup is kind of close. And, you got Tyrese Halliburton and De'Aaron Fox, they give you a dud. You lose by 2 points or anything like that. Buddy Hield somehow got 30 minutes, hit 1 3, 14 points. And Marvin Bagley, it's a mess. They gave him Tristan Thompson 22 minutes. I'm not sure. And then they gave Marvin Bagley 18 minutes. I think Elvin Gentry is playing Tristan Thompson because I guess he was trying to win, but I don't know if Tristan Thompson would contribute to winning. He was a minus 14 anyways. Everybody played really bad on the Kings. Some changes need to come. Maybe starting lineup change, I don't know. Maybe Davion Mitchell should get more minutes. He got 30 minutes here. Davion Mitchell is not a great fantasy player, a really good defender in real life, but he just doesn't get that many steals, right? And inefficient from the field. He could score a little bit, get some assists, but everything else is pretty much negative. Louis King and Ramsey and Damian Jones all come in and play some minutes due to the blowout, but they're not really fantasy relevant. But this Kings team a mess right now. For the Grizzlies, Tyus Jones, if you need assist, he needs to be picked up, and he brings decent steals as well. And he's gonna be the starting point guard in the short term. So pick him up. Even if he plays well, you're not gonna sell him for anything because everybody and their grandma knows that Ja Morant is gonna be back. Ja Morant, I would say the strategy with him is I would try to sell him right before he comes back. I expect his performance to drop off. Like after an scare injury like this, performance to really drop off, which is a shame. He was playing super well. Desmond Bane, it looks like, Dylan Brooks is bad, but Desmond Bane's still getting the minutes. So he still needs to be rostered. He's hitting a lot of threes, but that's about it. Some threes and points. He's not really bringing anything else. Desmond Bane, wow. He was actually the 37th ranked player. Better than I expected. Why? Because he's shooting 53% from the field. 3 threes. He could average 3 threes actually. 18 points is a bit high, but 16 points, it's not that far off. Everything else is not that far off, but 53% is not sustainable. So realistically, probably like a top 80 guy, a 3-point specialist with like a Buddy Hield, but with better efficiency. But counting stat, he's gonna make fewer threes and score fewer points than Buddy Hield. Steven Adams, in 20 minutes he had a great game. 12 rebounds, a steal, and 3 blocks. But again, if your team needs points and threes, why are you holding, right? The rebound is nice, but most nights he's not doing anything else. Jaren Jackson Jr. at 22 minutes had a good game, 17 points and 2 blocks. Jaren Jackson Jr. has been playing fairly well lately because he was able to avoid foul trouble and played, well, in the last 2 weeks, 27th ranked player in just 26 minutes. Averaging 17 points, yes, I think he could do that. Could even be 18 and 19. 1.73s, that could even go up. 6 rebounds, sure. 0.9 steals, sure. 2 blocks is a bit high. But the efficiency, 44%, that could also go up. 86% from the free throw line is a bit high. But overall, I think he has that upside to stay in the top 30. Right? If he can sustain the 2 blocks, who knows, could he go even higher? Because offensively, he's still not playing that well. Dillon Brooks, in 20 minutes, took 17 shots. He's a must roster. Field goal isn't going to be an issue, but now that Ja Morant is out in the short term, he's going to have some great value. 21 points and 2 steals and 6 rebounds. DeAnthony Melton, Kyle Anderson. In the short term, I think they could both be rostered. Kyle Anderson, provide nice all-around stats. We know that. DeAnthony Melton, this game was a blowout, so we don't know if they played it out. How many minutes is he going to get? Maybe 25, I don't know. But, with Dillon Brooks back, they're not playing DeAnthony. Because Tyus Jones is going to take most of Ja Morant's minutes. And I don't know if they would run DeAnthony Melton as the point guard. Maybe they could get a few minutes because Ja Morant, but not that many. Maybe 5 more minutes. Which makes him a must roster in the short term. Alright, the last game of the day is the Detroit Pistons losing to the LA Clippers. They played each other last week. We all know what happened. And they came back. They ran it back, and Lakers got the win again, which is not saying much, to be honest. This Detroit team is one of the worst teams in the NBA. Lakers have had a really easy schedule so far. They're barely 500. But who knows? Maybe when they can start beating some good teams. But defensive is a big issue for them. Saddiq Bey, 11 rebounds. He's a good defender and 3 steals. This is why we gotta roster him. Efficiency-wise, still very, very bad. I don't know when he's gonna turn around this season. At some point, he's got to. Jeremy Grant went off 32 points. 20 is probably a sell high, to be honest. I'm not too high on Jeremy Grant. Maybe just realistically like a top 70, 80 player with some scoring and some defensive stats, but super inconsistent. With his efficiency and defensive stats, he'll get 3 blocks 1 game and have 0 blocks for 5 games. Just inconsistent all around. Isaiah Stewart, a -16 in his 27 minutes. Good. He played 27 minutes and committed 0 fouls. But he's been a headache to own, I think. But if you drafted him, you just have to hold it out. Because you're not going to get a guy like that on the waiver wire. A big man that will get consistent 28 minutes and have the potential to block 1.5 shots. But everything else is pretty bad right now. Cunningham. His efficiency is really killing your team. And like I said, like if you're not punting field goals, let's try to sell him because you could trade him for a top 50 player, even. In the last 2 weeks, his ranking is still good, 83rd ranked player despite such horrible shooting. Why? Because the 1.6 steals and 8 rebounds as a point guard. 6.4 assists is also very good. So the counting stats very good. It's just the field goal is super low. So if the field goal goes up, he could be a top 60 guy. But I don't know this 8 rebound is sustainable though. And I don't know what 6.4 assist is also. Like Killian Hayes came back this game and he only had 2 assists. So that's a concern as well. Because I think all his big assist games were without Killian Hayes. But we'll see. Like 6.4 is a bit high, but he could average 4.5, I think. 1.6 steals. Also, I know nothing about him. Maybe he could sustain that. So a lot of the value for this guy is unknown at the moment. So you could go really either way. If you can get something, top 50 player for him, sure. But, if you can get him cheaper, if you're punting field goal and turnovers, maybe you can trade a top 50 guy for him. Either way could work. Because he should be by far the number 1 guy on this team. Killian Hayes came back. If you need assists and steals, you could definitely pick him up and just have him on your roster. He had 8 assists here, which is really good. Frank Jackson had 5 assists and a steal. Frank Jackson has been playing really well lately. But I just don't trust him yet. Corey Joseph, we cannot drop him. Killian Hayes is back. For the LA Lakers, LeBron, wow. I think LeBron needs to sell high. He played 37 minutes again. For a 37-year-old, this minutes is too high. But good thing is Lakers are struggling, so they really need LeBron to play as much as possible and try as hard. And we can see like the defensive stats this season. He is the 10th ranked player per game, 8th ranked or 9th ranked player per game basis wise, averaging 1.8 steals and 0.7. He's never averaged this many steals in his career, so that's gonna come down. But that just tells you that he's trying hard on defense. 9 assists as well, while Russell Westbrook also got 9 assists, 5 rebounds. But I think like if I can get any top 10 player, I would absolutely do it. Maybe even do a 2-for-1 for like those top 7, like LaMelo Ball, Karl Anthony Towns, to try to do those trades. He's missed a bunch of games. I think he will continue to miss some games. So he's a sell high. Try to get top 10 back or top 15 player. If you can get LeBron for Fred VanVleet, I would do it. If not, just gotta hold because there's a small chance he could play a lot of 80% or 90% of the games. 90% of the games. Anthony Davis, a great game, 2 steals and 3 blocks. I mean, everybody got 2 steals on this Lakers squad, so they really locked in this game. 24 points from AD and 2 for 2 from the 3. I think we all know that AD has been struggling from the 3-point this season, shooting like 17%. So 2 for 2 here really improved, and his mid-range has fallen off ever since the bubble. So he has not been good shooting the ball. Fantasy-wise, he should be fine. If he can bring in more defensive stat, he's a 5th ranked player. While shooting 73% from the free throw line. So, still very good. AD performances, putting out huge line. I think it's an effort thing for Lakers. If they can be locked in playing defense, AD's defensive stats will be there. Deandre Jordan continues to get the start and got 2 steals and 2 blocks. Okay, Avery Bradley, let's not touch him. And Russell Westbrook, 36 minutes, and with LeBron, he had 9 assists. So that's a good sign. 6 rebounds. But we know like with LeBron, he won't put up again. Still a sell high, in my opinion, a sell high. But his value is very, very tough to hard to evaluate. Like if you're pounding free throws and turnovers and field goals, his rankings could go up 100 spot. Like if you're pounding those 3 efficiencies, he's probably a top 5, top 10 player. Without LeBron, for sure. With LeBron, maybe top 10, 15. But you got to pound those efficiencies. If you're not pounding those efficiencies, he become like ranked outside of 100, 150. That's like depending on how much he hurt you from. Like 4 for 8 is really bad. Taylor Horton Tucker, he's probably a drop at this point. You could stream him. Him and Melo are drops. Seriously, they are because LeBron is gonna be in and out of the lineup. But if LeBron and Russell Westbrook both playing, there's not much upside for Taylor Horton Tucker. For Melo, just the points and threes. You could still roster him, but I think Lakers only got 2 games this week, so you could move on from him and pick him back up again. And that's it, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.